Hola Theaters, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another ammo check. And I'm going to jump straight into it. I mean, the three topics we're going to cover today, apparently the Arsenal favorites, we're going to be looking to renovate our stadium, and we've gotten breaking news today that our captain, our star, Martin Odegaard, is going to be out for another 6 weeks. So, yeah, let's just jump into it, man. I was going to come up with some brilliant intro, but I don't have it. I just want to talk about Arsenal. To be fair, the international break is draining me of all of my existence. I can't stand when the Arsenal aren't playing. Usually I would watch it, but I just can't say I want to see these friendlies, to be fair. And let's start off with favorites, because I've been seeing that around a lot of chats. I got friends who aren't Arsenal fans and friends who are. And that's been, going on the news. Arsenal the favorites. Arsenal the favorites. And I'm not going to lie, for me personally, I really don't subscribe to any of it. We heard we were favorites at different points in the last 3 seasons, and we ended up not winning the league. So I'm not worried about it. I don't know how we're favorites to the Champions League. That one I can't understand. When you still have PSG, you've got, Man City in it. You've got Liverpool. How could we, be one of the favorites in the Champions League without having won it? I mean, that gets past me. I get the bookies have to make somebody the favorites, especially, if we end up winning, they don't have a big payout. But I think as far as how the media is taking it, how people are talking about the favorites, it doesn't mean anything to me. Like, that doesn't mean anything to me. If anything, I think it puts on a lot more pressure on the team, and I think that's what we need. I think this team needs pressure. One of the biggest gripes that I have with our team, with our manager, with kind of the culture at our club the last 10 years that I've been a fan is we don't seem to win when we need to. The Champions League last year, I think we could have made it to the final if we played a little bit more aggressively. We didn't. Top 4 when Mikel Arteta finished 5th. We needed to win one game. We didn't. You can go back to Arsene Wenger, Unai Emery, when we needed to win in the Europa League final, we didn't. We embarrassed ourselves. Arsene Wenger, when we needed to step up and actually mount a title challenge, we embarrassed ourselves. So it's been the history, at least the 10 years of me being a fan, that in the high pressure moments when we have everything against us, we tend to fold. And that's, that can't be debated. Like, we can see it. Yes, we won the FA Cup, but when it came to the big trophies, when it's come to Europe, when it's come to the league, we just haven't been able to get over the line. And people can say, oh, Man City played you tough, but we were losing to Aston Villa, and not a good Villa. Not, we were losing to Newcastle before their money and fee. Like, we were losing to people. My first game as an Arsenal fan was against Brighton. We lost against Brighton, bro. Against Brighton. And I think we had a better team. Like, I just think that every time it comes time for us to win, we just don't. And I think now is an opportunity, and I will say this, about Mikel Arteta. Now is a chance to prove to the guys who doubt him, to the people that doubt him, that he's the manager they think he is, I think Mikel Arteta has all the tools, and I'm actually going to do a video. I'm going to have to do a video out about my thoughts on Mikel, as I do, and I'm going to keep putting them out throughout the season. Just, as a coach, as a person who coaches, what I've seen and how I feel about it. But I think he has a great chance with the squad that we have now, with the backing he's got, with the support he's got from the fans, to prove us, to prove that he can get over the line, to prove us right, to prove us wrong, to just silence the critics. And I think this whole favorites thing, you got pundits like, guys like Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher, like, oh yeah, Arsenal favorites. And I think it's easy for them because it's like, oh, I can say you the favorites, so that if we don't make it, they can come back and say, oh, I knew you weren't going to do it. Like, that's how I feel. Now, when guys like, Uncle Ian and Thierry Henry talk about us being the favorites, I feel like it's different. Like, when Thierry Henry talks about our team, it's one thing I can say. They got that viral clip when he said, I think they asked him, like, who's your second team? And he was like, Arsenal. Third team, Arsenal. 14, Arsenal. The man loves our club. And the reason that I think he's so hard on it, because he knows what the standard is, at least in the league. As far as the Champions League, yeah, he knows we didn't win it, but that's another thing. Like, Thierry went to Barcelona and won the Champions League, so he knows what it takes to win the Champions League. And I think people who are just like, oh, he's jealous or whatever, I think every time Thierry speaks, it comes from a place of love. He's our greatest ever player. He's the Prem's greatest ever player. Like, he loves the club, and for him to say, this is how I feel, and people to dismiss that because they're in love with the manager. Let's be honest. They're in love with the manager instead of being in love with the club. And I feel like Thierry is in love with the club. I think even if it was Arsene Wenger, even if it was anybody else, I think that he would still feel the same because he loves the club. He wants the club to do well. And that's where I am at. That's why I want our club to do well, whether it's with Mikel or whether it's not. I want us to do well. I want to see us, I don't want to see us, the thing that irks me, and it always irks me because I always see it online. Man, I just want us to lose so that Mikel leaves. Why? Why would I want that? I don't want that. I always want us to win. The manager is of no consequence to me. I care about my team winning. If it's Mikel, I will clap him up, say, man, I didn't think you could do it. We did it. Let's celebrate. If it's somebody else, same thing. Like, I want our club to win. So, the whole favorites thing, they can miss me with it, man. Like, it is what it is. If we're favorites and we win it, cool. If we're favorites and we don't win it, cool, because they're going to banter us either way. So, yeah, enough of that. On the next bit of business, let's talk about our stadium. The news has come out that, we're looking to renovate our stadium, which, our stadium was, 20 years old, I think? And I've been to the Emirates and I've been to the Toilet Bowl, which one I'm talking about. And the Toilet Bowl is so nice, bro. And I hate it. It hurts me right here to say it. But their stadium is modern. It's big. They can have events and stuff. And I know that they had a little bit more space to work with versus us. I've been to the Toilet Bowl and there's residents around it, but they've got a little bit more space. Like, there's more open space. Whereas the Emirates, you go on one side, it's the train tracks. You go on the other, you've got the tower flats. And then the last side is literally just more flats. Like, it's like, this is the train tracks, flats, and then more flats. Like, there's really not much they can do. And I think that within Islington, the borough itself, I know, well, I've heard that they're notoriously hard to deal with. So if we're going to make, any adjustments, I think we'll add maybe 8,000 more seats to get us to 70,000. I think that's as much as we can do. I don't think we can pull like a Spuds and tear like parts of the stadium down and rebuild it. I just don't think that's feasible. So they'll have more seats, and knowing the Cronkies like I do, knowing, their American football, they moved from LA, which was a big stadium. It was kind of run down like, our stadium in St. Louis. Their stadium in St. Louis. They moved and they built a massive stadium in LA, and they probably would want to do the same thing, but and that's the thing I love about football as well. There's no way you're moving Arsenal from where they are, and if you do, it's going to be tough. All right, so, there's no London stadium like West Ham. Like, we're kind of stuck to where we are. So, I think that the best he'll do is add seats. And then, when you think about adding seats, it's not going to be for the season ticket holders. I don't think it's going to be like for... I've been number 20, I think it's 28,000 on the season ticket waiting list for like 5 years. I think when I started 10 years ago, I started like 54, I think, and then we had, the banter era, and I got halfway, and then we started being, well, I haven't moved in the last 2 or 3 years from my spot. They send me something every year, so you haven't moved. And I just can't, I know how the Cronkies operate. I know how Americans operate. Those seats won't be, I don't think they'll be, everyday seats. I think they'll be hospitality seats. I think that you'll see kind of the Arsenal trying to improve their boxes, to improve their kind of higher tier match day experience, because they want more money. They talk about this global brand and getting more state. They just want more money. And I think if you make it so that more people can spend £1,000 per year, or per game in the hospitality. I think it's what, £650 for hospitality starting at. So you spend £1,000 a game, and I can add 500 more seats. That's a lot of money. So I think that's where they're thinking about with the cost. I would love to see more fans, but I just can't see them actually making it so that and it's hard. It's hard. I talk about this all the time. I moved from the US to the UK, and I thought I was excited. When I moved to the UK, I was like, man, I can finally go see the Arsenal. I can finally go to the stadium. I'm only an hour from London. I can just hop on the train and watch the Arsenal. If I hadn't met a friend who was a season ticket holder, I've tried to get ballots. I've tried to get seats, and I ain't successful, man. And I live here. Nah, man. I think it's hard. It's hard to get tickets, and I don't see it getting any easier, especially if we, mess around and win the league. I don't see it getting any easier for the casual fan to get tickets. I know a lot of people from South Florida, shout out South Florida Gunners, who want to come over here, but it's the same thing. Unless you know somebody, unless you have an in, I think the whole balloting system is so hard. When I first started watching Arsenal, you could get tickets. We were terrible, to be fair, but the ticketing was different. It was kind of like on a first come, first serve thing, but now they put everybody in the ballot, and you don't even know how people are getting picked or whatever it is. So, yeah, I'm lucky that I actually get to watch matches. I only go maybe about 2 or 3 times a year, but I think that's enough for me. Because there are people like my South Florida buddies who have never been, so I count myself blessed on that front. But I just don't see this new kind of stadium thing being for the fans and making it easier for fans to see. I think it's for the rich fans, for the corporate fans, for the Friends of Cronky fans, to get in there, spend more money, schmooze a little bit, and ultimately build the Cronky Empire. So that's how I feel on the stadium. On moving to Wembley, yeah, a lot of people will say, yeah, we're moving to Wembley, and we do well there. But moving there, playing a game there in a cup final is different than playing all your games there. And if you want to see how moving to a bigger stadium impacts someone, look at West Ham. Although West Ham have changed their stadium to be more accommodating, it's soulless, man. And I know it's Wembley, and we'll have more fans there, but I think you lose the atmosphere. And people be like, yeah, but you have more fans, there'll be more atmosphere. I don't think there will. So part of me being able to go to Arsenal fans, one of my friends, as I said before, is a longtime Gooner season ticket holder. His dad's a season ticket holder. And every time we go, he shows me something different. So every time we go, we go to a different pub. We go to, a different way. We kind of see things. And I remember, I think the last time, I think it was a European night. We went to the game, and we did a little mini pub crawl, and it was amazing. The rugby was going. But I think you lose that when you go to Wembley, because you lose the Arsenal pubs. You can't go to the Tollington Arms before the match, get a pint, and you can't really take pints in when you watch the game anyway, so a lot of people just get it outside. But you lose that match day atmosphere. Yeah, you got Wembley Way, and it's great, but, how far is Wembley from North London? You lose that kind of feeling for a year. And Spuds really didn't have any soul to begin with, so it really didn't affect them. But for Arsenal, I think the match day experience is so big. And, I'm taking the make out of Spuds, but, I imagine for their fans it was even tougher because they're more north than Arsenal is. Going to Wembley, and you lose that. You lose that match day experience. You lose, even if I was, I am an immigrant, tourist, whatever you want to call it, but even if I, didn't live in the UK and I was just coming to visit, going to Wembley is so much different than going to the Emirates. Getting off at Arsenal Station, getting off, at Caledonian and walking down and seeing the stalls and the food and people singing the Arsenal songs. I don't feel that you would get that at Wembley. And a lot of people are like, it'd be great to get the stadium renovated, but you lose a little bit in that process as well. And I think if we don't win anything in that process, you kind of set us back. Because, you get more money, but you start to lose, support and fandom. So, it's a 50-50. I know fans are kind of up about it. I think that they were hoping maybe they do, kind of like City are doing, working on a stand while the season is happening, and then just keep moving fans around. But I don't know. That's what it's 2025. They're talking about 2027. That's 2 years from now. I'd like to focus on now. And right now we're in the Emirates, and I'd like to bring a trophy to the Emirates. I think that's the biggest thing. That's what I'd like. My final story. I was sitting at work, and I heard the news that Martin Odegaard will be out for an additional 6 weeks due to his injury. And I think it's tough, man. I think it's tough. You guys know me. I've said how I felt about Odegaard his last 18 months. Tragic, man. I just don't think he was the player that we needed. I don't think it was the captain that we needed to get over the line. And it seemed, and I hold my hands up, this year it seemed like he was back to it. Granted, everybody's got the meme where he didn't pass it to Gyökeres, and that's fine. But, short hair Odegaard looked like the old Odegaard. It looked like the Odegaard who was having fun. And I just think that, he had the ankle injury, then he had the shoulder injury. Now he's got another injury. And I think it's tough. Even, whether you're a captain or not, I think it's tough to... And you saw when he came off. You saw the frustration in his face. You want to provide something. You know that you've got it. And you keep breaking down. And I know it's something that we saw with Jack Wilshere. Congratulations, Jack Wilshere, by the way, for becoming the manager of Luton. I think that's big. But we saw it with Jack Wilshere, man. Every time you have a good patch, he get an injury, you're just like, man, I can see how good he is. But the best ability is availability. And if you're not available, it's tough. Odegaard, I think that he'll get the rest. He's out till the next international break, so he'll get the rest and recuperation. What I don't want to see, though, and I would say this with any player, I know we're going to need Odegaard, but I think if we're still first or we're still close to first by the time Odegaard comes back, I don't want to rush him back. I think the business end of the season, that March to May, is going to be where the title is won or lost. And I think if we rush Odegaard back in November, during the winter period when we got game after game after game, and he gets injured and we lose him for the season, I think that's a big loss. So I think his management coming off his injury is going to be very important. And this is why I'm so glad that we got Eza. Like, we got Eza. I can imagine the years before, if Odegaard would have went down for long periods of time, you're just like, who do we play? Do we play Marino? Do we play, we got Eberechi Eza. We got Ethan Nwaneri. We got guys who can deputize and cover for him, and I think that's so important. And as I said, I got to give credit to Mikel Arteta. I got to give credit to Berta, because they've built a squad where I'm looking at it, I'm like, man, our captain is down, but we'll be all right. We'll be okay. So, yeah, big credit to those guys. I just want to see the Martin Odegaard that I saw, Heverin and Real Sociedad, the one that Real Madrid wanted and got. I want to see that guy back. And I saw a glimpse of it, but these injuries, they're tough. 6 weeks is a long time, but I hope he rests. I hope he gets well. And I hope that he returns to the Odegaard that I know he can be, the one that I got on the back of the shirt, the one that, I was telling everybody I was gassed up. I know he can be that player. He's got it. He's got that in him. I just wanted to see him healthy, and I think we're going to need him. As much as, I said that he was mid, I think we'll need him. I think the team will need him. And I think that ultimately in the long run, him being healthy is better for Arsenal, I think. So, yeah, I hope he gets healthy. I hope he comes back. And I hope we actually get to see Eberechi Eza in the 10. I hope we get to see more of him creating, more of him linking up with Gyökeres. 6 weeks is a long time. We got a lot of games in between there. So, we got the Champions League. I think we got Brighton coming up as well in the Carabao Cup. So, yeah, we'll have some games, and I think we need to win those games. And I think he needs to let Eze, he doesn't need to be on the left wing. He needs to be at the 10 where he can distribute, he can cook, and we can actually see what's going on. Saka looks like he's getting back to it. So yeah, it's great. To finish, I'm gonna go with a couple minor stories. I know I said I was gonna do 3, big stories, but a couple minor stories. Bukayo Saka looks closer to signing a deal. It's not really a minor story; it's a major story. I'm always happy to see Bukayo Saka, and as I said before, I gotta give praise to Berta because he's getting these guys signed up. It's never a doubt that Saka was gonna sign, because I think he's Arsenal through and through. But I want to see us keep our great players. And then if we're not going to keep them, let's put them on contracts so where we can actually get money. None of this free stuff. Like, I think Saka is going to be here for the long run. And, with his England form, he's been hot, man. He's getting back to it. And I think with a guy like Gyökeres as well, who absorbs defenders and makes center backs pay attention to him, I think we're going to see a lot better Saka. I think once he gets back to pace with that hamstring, I think he'll be all right. So I'm glad to sign him up. I'm glad to see Saka. I've got his kid as well, Starboy, so I'm glad to see him. And lastly but not leastly, I mentioned it earlier, Jack Wilshere going to Luton. I know he's not an Arsenal player anymore, but I always like to see, former players and stuff going into management. I think we saw, Aaron Ramsey going into management. And Jack getting his first job at Luton, championship team, I think that it's good for him, and I'd like to see him succeed. What I don't want to see, though, and as much as I love Jack Wilshere, if we get rid of Mikel Arteta, please, 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 Arsenal, don't go for Jack Wilshere. Don't go for Cesc Fabregas. Don't go for Aaron Ramsey. Please, let's just go for an established manager who we've seen win something. But good on Jack, man. Good on Jack. I think Luton are a good club for him. He knows the club, having spent time there. I think they'll love him. I think he'll love them. So I think it's big for Jack, and I'm so glad to see him. I wish that he had been less injury prone. I wish he could have stayed healthier longer, but I'm so glad that he's found a calling. He's found something he's good at, and I wish him all the best. I wish Jack Wilshere all the best. So that's been another ammo check. Thanks for listening to me waffle. Remember, like, subscribe if you've made it this far. And I have more videos coming out during the international break. And then we'll get into the preview for our next match. But yeah, man, you take it easy. See you guys later.